Hello and welcome to Realpolitik. This is Stanley Johny, the Hindu's International Affairs editor. Syria has witnessed dramatic developments in recent months. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, an Islamist organization that grew out of al-Qaeda's Syria branch, captured power in Damascus in December. HTS leader Abu Mohammad al Golani, now known as Ahmed al-Sharaa, has got himself appointed as the acting president of Syria. Where do these developments leave Syria's Kurdish minority? The Kurds in Syria's north and east enjoy relative autonomy. Across the border in Turkey, Abdullah Ocalan, the leader of the Kurdistan Workers Party (PKK), recently announced from jail a ceasefire and called on disarming the PKK as part of a peace process. To discuss the developments in Syria and Turkey, as well as the larger Kurdish question, I am today joined by Salih Muslim Muhammad, the co-chair of the Democratic Union Party, the main political party of the democratic administration of North and East Syria. Thanks for joining me, Mr. Muslim, and welcome to Realpolitik. So let's begin with Syria. Syria has seen dramatic developments in recent months. It took just 12 to 13 days for the HTS Hayat Tahrir al-Sham to capture power after they launched an offensive in Aleppo in late November. And so, how do you look at the developments in Syria?
Well, I would like thank you to give me this opportunity to talk to you, first of all, and our regards to all your team and your watchers, your sharings also. Thank you for you and for your team. Yes, everybody followed what happened. I mean, those groups who were located in Idlib areas, most of them are jihadist groups, and so remains of the jihadist and Salafist groups who were fighting us before since 2012. All of them, remains of them, they just went to the places and north places occupied by Turkey, and in Idlib, their bases were there, and they were training, and so were helping by the Turkish side. And suddenly they just woke up and they went on to Aleppo and then to the other cities. They went they reached Damascus in the 8th of December in front of the eyes of all the world. And this is first. And everybody should know that those groups are jihadists, maybe just trying to see themselves or to show themselves as moderate Islamists. And so actually we know them very well because we were fighting against them, Jabhat al-Nusra, and then ISIS and the other groups. They were in our areas, supported by Turkey, attacking our areas since 2012, and especially Jabhat al-Nusra, which is the main force inside this HTS. So is was able to occupy Serikani in 2012 for a few days, and then after fighting, very hard fighting with them, Serikani was liberated from them. So what I mean, we know each other very well. I mean, they know how can we fight, and we know them very well that they are jihadists, and even if they try to show themselves as moderate Muslims, and they promise that they are going to change, make some changes, democratic changes in Syria. And because of that, we are waiting for them to see what they are going to do. And if they make any changes and remediation, of course, we will be helping them. This is one. And the second part of it, there was some other group. They moved with them together, which they called Syrian National Army. There were groups under the control of Turkey, supported by Turkey and even directed by Turkey. So HTS went to Damascus, to the capital, and the other group just forward to our our places. I mean, they marched to Kurdish places in North Aleppo, and then they went also toward the democratic Syrian areas, democratic Syrian administration in our areas to destroy it. But of course, there were some fightings, a lot of fightings in Shapa, which is north of Aleppo. Mainly the people residents over there, they were immigrants from Afrin, because when it was occupied by Turkey in 2018, so those people they were enforced to leave Afrin, and they were residing in these areas, in Shahba areas, in the camps, refugee camps, and we were looking after them. By these attacks, I mean, we tried to rescue them, and 120,000 of those people, Kurdish people from Afrin refugees, we transported them to our areas to east of Euphrates, just to rescue them from what they can do. I mean, because they were implementing what Daesh was doing, slaughtering the people, killing them, kidnapping, whatever it is. So we helped them. There was some fighting even between us and them. So there were a lot of casualties also, and many of them they were slaughtered and detained by them. But the rest, about 120,000 people, they went to our areas east of Euphrates, and they followed it because their aim was to occupy these our areas eastern of Euphrates, but they were not able to pass the Euphrates. There were since then, I mean, since December,
Mhm.
last December, till now, it's about 4 months. The fighting is going on still. Some clashes are going on in the bridge called Karakozak, in the dam called the Tishin Dam, because this is only the ways two ways to pass to the east of Euphrates. So there was a very heavy fighting about there along these two areas. I mean, since December, and recently there were some efforts by the international coalition to make a ceasefire, and I think they agreed, but it's not announced yet. But our civilians still are in the Tishin Dam, trying to protect the Tishin Dam because it was damaged by them. And then, so we are
Yeah.
waiting just to have a kind of ceasefire between us and them. And as you know, in Damascus, there was many visits by our people to Damascus in order to make some agreements with them. And in the 10th of March, maybe everybody saw there was a kind of deal between our people and them. I mean, Mazlum Abdi and Golani, containing about 8 points to be done within 1 year. And we are still, I mean, trying to implement it. There are some committees established in our side. We are waiting for them also to make a kind of discussion and dialogue for solving our problems now.
Your party, the Democratic Union Party, is the main party in Syria's Kurdish region. And the Kurdish people in Syria have enjoyed relative autonomy in recent years. So, what does the change, the political change in Damascus, mean for the autonomy of the Kurdish people in Syria? So, now that Assad is gone and HTS is in power, Jolani is there in Damascus. Do you think that the autonomy is being threatened by the new authorities in Damascus?
Well, first of all, we are not only the Kurdish people, because in our democratic self-administration we have law for political parties. We are talking about the 20 parties, political parties, established by legal, I mean, work in our social contract. So we have about 20 parties, but our party is the main party and the oldest party because we are struggling against the regime first of all, and since 2003, for during the Kamishlo uprising, and since then we were against the regime. So we are the largest party and oldest party among them. We have about 20 parties, Kurdish parties. And now we are trying to unify all those parties together. At least, I mean, a kind of coordination between all the parties because of to unify the demands of the Kurdish people and even for the Arabs, the other components we are sharing in the area, to make some to look for some solutions with the new government. And of course, I mean, nobody wants, even the Syrian people, not only in our area, the other areas also. There were a lot of struggle. The latest one was those massacres happened in the coastal area in western Syria against the Alawites because they don't like this regime and they don't want those Islamic groups to control the country. So there were some massacres over there, and of course we are supporting them. What I mean by that, and also we have at Durzis, the south of Syria in Sueda, and those communities, I mean the Durzi community and also the Alawites, and because Syria is a kind of mosaic, a lot of, I mean, a lot of components ethnically, and they are also from the religion side. So it's kind of mosaic. So you have to find a kind of formula can all those people to live together because nobody wants to go before 2011, which was a strict, I mean, centralized regime was controlling everything in Syria. So they are looking, all of them, they are looking for decentralized government in Syria, including maybe could be federalism or including to be those self-administration areas, whatever it is. So everybody is after that, and even the Alawites, Durzis, the Kurdish people, the minorities. So everybody looking for freedom, but nobody accept to return to a very strict centralized regime as what it was before 2011. So now, of course, we are looking for that, but the regime which they are controlling Damascus now, they are insisting to maybe to return to the decentralized, very strict centralized regime as it was before, but with a different ideology. I mean, before 2011, there was a Ba'athist regime, and now they are trying to make it a Salafi regime, but strict centralized regime, which is not acceptable by Syrian people. Of course, we have this deal. If they do it, it's not only for us, and also it will be a kind of relief for the other minorities and even the other components altogether. I mean, with Damascus, it's a democratization, a kind of democratization of Syria. So our struggle is continuing in this situation. And as you know, still, I mean, those fighting in somewhere, maybe in minimum size, it's continuing in the coastal area. But there is a lot of conflicts even in southern place, in Dara and Sueda, with the Turks and other components. Anyway, we are trying to democratize Syria. We think the democratic regime of Syria and decentralized regime will help everybody.
The Kurdish fighters were on the front line of the war against the Islamic State, Daesh, in 2015-16, Kobane, Taliban, etc. The YPG was on the front line. What is the status of the ISIS, the Islamic State, today in Syria? Do you see any possibility of ISIS regrouping now that Syria is going through a transition?
Actually, as I said, I mean those groups which were located in Idlib and areas occupied by Turkey, they still have groups of ISIS, but they changed their name. I mean, even this Jolani, he was ISIS before, but after he went to, I mean, Idlib, he changed his name to Hayat Tahrir Sham. And the other groups also, we have different names, but it's the same practice and same ideology. Still, I mean, jihadists and trying to establish caliphate and so. So we are still fighting against them. But I mean, by the name of ISIS, only we have still, I mean, some groups in our areas, in Deir ez-Zor area, and especially in the western of Euphrates, which is not under our control. It was under control of the regime and the Russians, but they could not eradicate them from that areas. And now, after the regime was fall down, those groups they got a lot of weapons from the regime side, from the others, and trying to be aware again. I mean, they are established some groups and they are awake again, organizing themselves. And even is dangerous for our places. And maybe you are hearing that we have a camp called Al-Hol camp, which is mainly those families of Daesh members, other than the detained Daesh members who fighters. We have about 10,000 of them. They are still in our prisons and so on. They were detained. But their families in a camp called Hol. They are trying to get those, I mean, from refugee camp and even from the prisons. They are trying to relieve them, to release them from these camps, and so it means that they have their plans, and we have sleeping cells a lot in everywhere, and the struggle is continuing. I mean, every day we can find some cells, some killings, some suicides, and so it's going on. So it's who says Daesh is finished? Actually, it's not finished, but it's went underground. You see, but there are a lot. I mean, their groups and their areas are. It's not in our area, but it's just beside our areas. So they are trying to reorganize themselves and trying to attack in our areas also from time to
Okay,
time.
let's look at Turkey across the border. Turkey has also seen interesting developments of late. For example, Abdullah Ocalan, the PKK leader, has called for a ceasefire and disarming his organization, the Kurdistan Workers Party. So my question is that do you see a genuine scope for peace in Turkey between the PKK and the Turkish state? And the peace process, if there is one, does it have anything to do with the Democratic Union Party, your party?
Yes, the beginning, I want to say again, I mean, we are not PKK. Ideologically, maybe we are friends or we are brothers, could be, ideologically, but our party was established in 2003 in Syria with the Syrian people, Kurdish people mainly, and we have our plans and programs and even our fighting in Syria. So we have nothing to do with Turkey, with the others. And always we extended our hands for peace to Turkey because it's neighbors, and we have maybe about 900 kilometers of borders between us and them. And the Kurdish people population are just in the other side of the border. So we cannot, I mean, do for anything for them. I mean, to harm them. Because of that, we are not, I mean, fighting in the border and so. But because of Kurdish issue with the Turkey, they have kind of Kurdophobia. And maybe they have stated, and you are maybe, if you follow any saying words by the Turkish responsibles, you say, we are not accepting the Kurdish being. We have no Kurds, so they don't accept any existence of the Kurds anywhere. And so they look for the Kurds is a danger for Turkey. So because of that, they fight against the Kurdish people everywhere, even in Iraq or Iran, in Syria, and so. So this is a kind of Kurdophobia in Turkey. And because of that, from the beginning, not now, even during the regime time in 2002, 2003, 4, they were coordinating with the regime against the Kurdish people in Syria not to give us any rights. If they give it, we had no problem. I mean, we can solve our problem with the Syrian government. But Turkey always was obstacle for that. And they are accusing us that we have relations with the PKK, which is not true at all. We have different organization, and even when we established our defense forces, we did it against the ISIS, which was, attacking us in our areas. So we had to protect ourselves. It's self-defense, which is the right for everybody. It's legitimized. Defense, self-defense, right, and that's what we are doing. And we never attacked any Turkish goals or Turkish interests. We never harmed them at all. And in spite of that, they were blaming us. And now, when Mr. Ocalan has announced his call,
Yeah.
for peace and so to PKK, and PKK announced the ceasefire, we hope, that they can reach a peaceful approach between PKK and Turkey, because they will relieve us too, because Turkey cannot say more, you have relations with the PKK. If they solve their Kurdish issue inside Turkey, then they cannot blame the others. They cannot say it to anybody else. But if they, we heard some voices saying, "Well, you should give up the weapons. You should lay down your weapons." But of course, our enemies. If we do it, we have to do our agreement with the Syrian regime,
Okay.
not with them, because we never used our
Yeah.
weapons against Turkey. We used to protect ourselves against Daesh, and they are still now, and even now they are in Damascus, and we have to be careful about that and to be ready for any attacks coming to us from outside. If Turkey can guarantee that they are not going to attack our areas, maybe at that time we will have another war. But they cannot do it at all, just because we have the weapon and we defended ourselves against the dangers coming from in our parts, from Daesh, from the Salafi groups, and from the Syrian regime before. So we cannot lay down our weapons. We have to protect ourselves. For PKK case, yes, if they get rid of this Kurdophobia, it will be for our benefit, because the Turkey cannot find any accusation for us that we are related. There will be no PKK to say, yeah, you are connected with the PKK or so on. So we don't know what is going to happen. And as you know, there were some efforts, but the Dem party and the others, and even the delegation went to Imrali to meet Mr. Ocalan. And I think today also the delegation went again to Imrali to meet Mr. Ocalan. And then, of course, if they do something peaceful approach, that will be for benefit not only for us but for all the Middle East, I
So
think.
you have Turkey on the one side across the border, which is very hostile, which had carried out attacks inside Syria and have taken up land, Syrian territory. And now in Damascus, you have a group which with jihadist roots, and which is also backed by Turkey. You have HTS in power. So, what is the future of the your autonomous government? Because you're stuck between a government, a hostile government in Damascus, and a hostile Turkish government across the border. What is the future of your autonomous government? And also, are you getting any regional support from any other countries or allies, partners?
Well, we have, as you know, the international coalition is in the area, and they extended their hand to us. I mean, it's a kind of a partnership against Daesh, and it happened in 2015 when the international coalition couldn't find anybody fighting Daesh seriously other than us. So we said, okay, and this is still
And this
going
is
on.
led
I
by the
mean,
United
we
States,
have,
isn't it?
yes, led by United States, and they are in the area. And what we were doing since 2015 till now is continuing. They are armed, and they don't want us. I mean, they don't detect us to anything, and they don't inform us to anything. And we are partners only for fighting against ISIS and terrorism, nothing more than that. They didn't promise us to protect or to do so, and of course, as maybe everybody knows, the attacks by Turkey to our areas, the occupation, they never done anything to it. And even we were attacked by the regime forces and by those Salafis, jihadists, they didn't defend us. Only they are helping us and as a partners for fighting against Daesh, and they are still continuing to do it. For our case, of course, I mean, we are trying to find a peaceful way to have to be, I mean, at least comfortable in our areas as our people. And so we are looking for all the ways, by all the means to do it. And we find this is the dialogue could be done through the dialogue with the Syrian regime and even for the others, for Turkey also. If we agree, I mean, if they accept our existence, there is no matter. We can talk to them and to see them. But still, I mean, Turkey is refusing our existence, and even this regime, when they came in, they say, well, you have to give up your weapon and you should come to share without any conditions and so so. Why we are fighting since maybe 15 years? So we cannot give our weapons to a jihadist group. I mean, even now, if they say we are moderate, we cannot believe. I mean, on the ground, we should see it. And all the other components also, they don't accept for jihadist group to control Syria. They are looking for decentralized Syria to share in the government, in the political decision. So I think we are going stronger and stronger by the other components supporting us, the Durzis, the Alawites, and so. I think there is no way we should have
Mhm.
decentralized Syria, maybe local administrations or whatever it is, and in some ways, or kind of a federalism. It could be, of course, I mean, flexible federalism for all the parts of Syria. This is we are looking after, and I think all the Syrian people they are supporting, they are demanding for this flexible
Is HTS
federalism.
on board with this idea of a decentralized Syria, or they want a highly centralized administration? Jolani? Yeah.
Who do you mean? All the groups. I mean, all the groups they are looking for
Including Jolani's
decentralized
group.
Syria. Yes, maybe they are looking for kind of and
Okay, okay.
federalism. Yeah,
So one last
those
question.
groups. Yeah. If they accept it, if they accept it, is okay for us, and we will help them. We will try to do it. If not, we are in our places, and we have our social contract, and our people come. All our components. I mean, the Arabs, Syrians, Kurdish, Turkmen, whatever it is we have in our areas. We are living together and trying to implement our project.
What is your relationship with Israel? Is there any cooperation between your party and Israel, your autonomous government and Israel? I'm asking this because recently the Israeli government has repeatedly voiced support for Syria's minorities, and Israel also kind of backs some kind of a weak government in Damascus. So, is there any kind of cooperation between your government and the state of Israel?
Well, let me explain a little bit. I mean, all the Jewish people, we had to share in our areas. I mean, the Jewish people, they were living in the Kurdish areas, in Kurdistan. Even in my city, I mean, Kobani and the others also, there was just some Jewish living ordinary with our people without any problem. I mean, they were accepting each other, respecting each other. So, what I mean, our society, I mean, in Kurdish people especially, they don't have any enmity against the Jewish people. This is historically, maybe thousands of years we used to live together. So, because of that, we have no any allergic things against the Jewish people. This is one. Maybe the politics are different. In Israel, maybe you have some against Israel, some of them supporting Netanyahu or the others. But I mean, when they say it's natural ally, it's true. We are natural allies. I mean, the Kurdish people. We are natural ally with the Jewish people everywhere because they are part of the Middle East, and we have to live together. I mean, this is our belief. But of course, there were no any connection till now between the Kurdish people and the Israeli government. And recently, we have some maybe news from the Israeli foreign minister and so, which is saying trying to contact our people. And there were telephone connection between Ilham Ahmed, which is representing our foreign affairs committee, I mean, in the administration, and between the foreign minister of Israel. There were telephone talk between them. I don't know what was the occasion, but of course we have. I mean, if we make any relations, it's ordinary because all the Arabs already they have diplomatic relations with Egypt, with the Jordanians, with Saudi Arabia, with the Gulf countries. So maybe in future we don't know what will happen. But of course we are not enemies, just like Islamic world toward the Jewish people. No, we have different.
But how do you look at the
mentality.
war, the ongoing war on Gaza?
Well, we think this is not the way to solve the problems. I mean, they were just fighting, killing, and so it's not. It doesn't solve any problem. I mean, if they sit together, dialogue without any terrorism, they can solve it. I think, and we believe. I mean, for the Palestinian and Jewish people, the democratic nation, which is our project, is convenient for them too. But they have to believe in this democratic nation to live together. So this is our belief, not only for Jewish people, also for us and for the others. The democratic nation project is for everybody, and if they implement it, they will get be okay. I mean, between the Arabs and
You're saying one
sorry,
democratic nation, you support one democratic nation for Arabs and Jews.
a democratic nation project is for everybody to live together. I mean, in different ethnicities and even different beliefs, they can live together. They have to accept each other. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Muslim. Thanks for joining Realpolitik. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
For more such videos, please subscribe to The Hindu.